Hello everyone. It's a challenge to get over here from there. Just watching my steps not to fall on these rocks here and there. So it's been a challenging little few minutes to be able to finally set up and make this video for you. Today I like to do something different. Often I've been talking about relationship breakups and what happens, why you feel the way you feel, and trying to explain and shed some light on the function and the role of the thoughts and consciousness, fears and desire and ego in the whole thing, the way you feel after breakup. All the things that we've covered in the past 511 videos that you can find on my channel, most of them are available for you to look at, and some are on my site, mindthatseekstruth.com, where you can become a member of the VIP, and it's a nominal fee, a few dollars a month, and then you can have access to over 120 other videos that are not published on the YouTube for public. So however, if there is anything that has to do with breakups and scenarios and how you feel and how to move on and all that, it's all in there. Plus all the videos that we have discussed the role of thoughts and consciousness, how the consciousness is put together, how the thoughts are formed, how ego and desire are formed, what are they, and how fear comes about, time and thought, and all these things are on the playlist called The Psyche. But today I want to talk about relationships while you're in it, meaning what happens that it breaks up. While we've discussed this topic a lot in the past, but this is a different twist on it. I want to discuss with you, share with you the opinion I have that how I see a relationship starts and then moves on to the next stages, and what happens that eventually comes to breakup, and what are the levels of responsibility of each one of the partners in the relationship. As you know, this channel originally was made for boys' benefit, boys' point of view, and with their problems with their girlfriends and so on. But then many other people, all different genders and type of relationships, became interested, and so I tried to make it as applicable to all type of relationships as possible. But for the ease of delivery, I'm going to be talking about one type of relationship, and you guys simply can switch it around and make it fitting your gender, your type of relationship, and make it senseful for your purposes. So that makes it easier for me to deliver the point. So let's examine from the time a boy sees a girl and what happens. So let's say this guy, imaginary guy, meets this imaginary girl. And you guys, I guess, switch it over to fit your own type of relationship. And so you like the girl. Now the question doesn't arise in your mind why you like the girl. You simply like the girl. Of course, the history behind it is that you're programmed for procreation, and it's in your genes. It's a program to be, interested in love and, finding mates and partners and so on. So you see this girl and you are attracted to her. Well, this attraction is based on what? Well, you don't know her, so it can't be based on her mentality or how you guys are compatible in the ways of consciousness, the contents of your consciousness, your upbringings, and all the other things that has to do with the manners, attitudes, morals, way of thinking, what has put each person together. And as you know, the consciousness is put together through the societies they've been raised in, the teachers you met, and the parents and siblings and friends, the customs and religions and dogmas and everything else that you come across and you come to experience as you grow is part of what consciousness is put together. And each person's consciousness, of course, is put together differently. So at that point where you see this girl, you don't know her. You don't know any of these kind of information that we just talked about. Her inner self, her entirety, her center, her consciousness. You only see her and like her based on her physical shape, her looks, her body, your attraction to that, what you see and what you like, and it's all physical. So far so good. I hope you agree for now. But when you see a girl, you may think that you're head over heels in love, but really that's lust. That's just physical attraction, because love really is created when you guys get to know each other mentally, on the mental level and the consciousness level, intimately, and understand how each one of you are put together. But that hasn't happened yet. It's at the outset. So the guy sees the girl and he likes her. So somehow they approach each other. It's 2017, so I can't say the guy approaches the girl. However, they seem to get together and they get to know each other a little bit better. They interact and so on, and then they go on, get to know each other more. They, do outings and dates and dinners and discussions and sports and activities, and then intimacy and so on and so forth. And the relationship grows to the point that both feel wonderful and comfortable and so on and so forth. So far so good. But then the boy, we're talking about from a boy's point of view, the guy says to himself that, okay, it's all great, she's gorgeous and I like her and all that, physically attracted, but wouldn't that be better if our habits and way of seeing things, mentalities, our order in life, the way we run our lives, the norm of our life, our interests beyond the physical attraction, wouldn't that be lovely if she would also be similar to my way of doing things, thinking, my order, my way of seeing the world, interpreting the world? And you say, of course, that would be great, because then she would understand me better. You're thinking about it from your own point of view. Of course, the girl or the other partner also is thinking about the whole thing from her point of view, the other partner's point of view. So the guy starts now to modify your behavior. But remember, one of the reasons that you were attracted to each other was because, again talking from boy's point of view, because the boy didn't know you. So while his own consciousness was known to him, calling the field of the known, how he thinks and what are, and how his consciousness was put together, what he went through, the experiences in life and so on, but he knew nothing about how her consciousness was put together. So therefore, in his position, it was called the field of the known. But the girl that he was interested in was not known to him. And that was one of the reasons that he was attracted to her, because it was something that he knew nothing of. And that attracted him even more. On top of the physical attraction, there was something mystic, something unknown, something unclear, something hidden that enticed him and brought excitement. Now, however, he decides to make her become more similar to him and his lifestyle. So he tries to modify those habits or behavior or thinking or the way to see the world. And sometimes this is happening from the boy's side, maybe by manipulation or by love or by care, but by logic and discussion and trying to convince the other side, ask for her to consider certain things. And often it is done by manipulation, financially, money, or behavior, bad behavior, arguments, negative energy, like a punishment, ignoring each other, and creating this fear, perhaps unintentionally, while we know there are many negative people who do this intentionally, which is of course totally not acceptable, but we're talking about a more normal situation, what happens most of the time without any malice in mind. So he is now, through certain kind of behavior that stems from his own ego, thinking that he is better, his way is better, therefore let me recruit her to my way of seeing things, and he becomes involved in making such an effort. And of course, could be the other side, the girl is trying to do the same thing, using her kindness, her love, or her attention, or lack of it, or the intimacy, using the, depriving the guy from sex or whatnot, making the husband kind of feel wonder here and there, and then get her way by modifying her partner. However, again, we're talking from boy's point of view, so he tries to modify her by using these tools, so to speak. And let's say, for the reasons of perhaps kindness, or wanting to make things work, or fear of not having the same comfort or the stature or the culture, dogmas, she modifies her thinking or behavior or manners or mentality in order to make the relationship work. So now what happened? In the girl's point of view, she's uncomfortable. She doesn't feel that psychological security because she has now been taken out of her own consciousness, made her to be something that she has no roots and no basis to be the way she is. It is because of the manipulation or her acceptance to become something that he likes her to be, and yet it is not based on her, the way her consciousness is put together. And in the boy's point of view, he feels good for a while, then suddenly he realizes that she is no longer the unknown. She's now has become similar to him, and therefore she is part of the field of the known of his own consciousness, which to him is all known and nothing exciting about it. And it's rather boring. So what happened here? Now the same person that he was head over heel interested in, attracted to, or in love with, physically, now, and mentally possibly because of differences, which is differences are beautiful, great, to a certain level, he now feels that is no longer interesting because he knows her, or he thinks he knows her, while he knows her as a reflection of him because she has reciprocated his request and has become more like him. And in that sense, he doesn't really like her anymore because she has become like him. And that's no excitement. It's like his own. Because he thinks he's better, so he turned her like his own mentality or how he negotiates life, and no longer is now interested. Because that what he was hoping for is actually what causes him to be bored and not be interested, because there's no fresh ideas, there's no fresh behavior, there's no differences, there's no excitement of something that he doesn't know, and therefore he becomes bored. And that's the beginning of that. Each one of them, if they have done this, what we just talked about, to each other, now they both become too familiar to each other and they become bored. Which, if we want to now back it up or explain it a little bit more, it's a story of joy, pleasure, and boredom. You see, when you're doing something or something for the first time, let's say right now I'm by the ocean and I see people on their surfboards and different things that they're doing. For the first time when somebody, let's say, starts surfboarding, must have been totally exciting, totally amazing feeling, totally joyful, that moment, that new thing. or if it's the first time that they have a pomegranate, a whole taste of, or cherries. It's so exciting, so amazing. It's all joyful, joy, that moment, nothing to compare it to. It's new, it's joy. That's called joy. But when then the thought comes into the picture. The thought comes into the picture and says, wait a second. I like this pomegranate, I like this chair, I like this surf boarding, I like this, what I'm doing at this moment, tennis or whatever it is. I like it. Now I want more of it. I want it to be all the time. Because I want more of it, the thought says, thought comes into the picture, says, I want more of this joy. Now, the more of this joy, he wants to turn it into pleasure. Once it turns into pleasure, because he wants to make the joy permanent, and joy is only in the moment, but when you make it permanent or make efforts to make it last longer, for always available to you, then it becomes pleasure. And once it becomes pleasure, that's the opening gate for boredom. Joy never becomes boredom, but pleasure, which is making joy a permanent event and constantly able to have it, that's a gateway and opening to boredom. So this now coming back to the relationship, the boy has made the girl to become a permanent joy, like him, everything comfortable, psychological security, everything known, becomes part of the field of the known of each other, depends on who does what to each other. And now suddenly the joy turns into pleasure because they turn it into permanent. And yet in the time that it takes from joy to become pleasure, they didn't make efforts to understand each other on consciousness level, to understand where each other come from, how their consciousness is coming from, how it's put together, what are the ingredients and fragments of the consciousness of each one, the way they've been put together, what they've gone through, to understand each other, to bond on consciousness level. Because they don't do that, they only rely on the physical attraction, and then they try to make the joy of the physical attraction to permanently to pleasure, and then nothing else has happened in the meantime to bond on a deeper level. Therefore now that joy is pleasure, pleasure has become boredom. When it happens like that, then each thing, there's something wrong with the other one. It doesn't satisfy them anymore. They start looking away, looking elsewhere, like a sparrow that jumps from one branch of the tree to the other, thinking that the other one is better. Perhaps there's more things available there. Perhaps it will be more satisfactory. Lo and behold, that it's not all about changing. It's all about connecting deeper on the conscious level and not the superficial and just the physical level, because it is not the physical attraction that keeps the relationship together. It is actually the bonding that creates the love in the relationship. And bonding on the conscious level is what creates the love in the relationship. So when that happens, not knowing, they all try to break up, look elsewhere, and they think the other one is at fault, this is not working, while all along it was them themselves who turned something exciting, new and fresh into something that is part of their field of the known, and yet then joy became pleasure and pleasure became boredom, hence the breakup. So this is something for you to think about, and hope that will jog you and help you to take advantage of the time that you're interested in each other and bond on the consciousness level, understand each other deeply, and then that creates the love which is got a lot more chance to last much longer than you may think it would. Have a wonderful day or evening, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.